Ripple just shut down one of its longest running transparency tools for XRP markets. The European Central Bank has announced its digital euro innovation partners. We're going to be diving deep into a new interview that we just did with breaking down how Hashgraph is meeting enterprise and institutions where they're at. And we just dropped a Valour article, which talks about the rising wave of regulated digital asset products. Buckle up. Since 2017, Ripple's XRP Markets Report has offered unmatched transparency. But this report, the Q1 2025 XRP Markets Report that just came out, says that transparency was used against them, especially by the SEC. Therefore, Ripple has announced in this document that the report for XRP markets in its current state is being sunset. Therefore, it looks like this will probably be the last XRP markets report that we see. It says in Q2 2025, which we're in right now, we won't see any more reports. Ripple is going to continue to be transparent and share relevant updates on Ripple and XRP related announcements through their official channels, including Ripple and Ripple X Dev, and will maintain public access to its XRP holdings on the company's website. As more institutions engage with XRP, additional perspectives and insights are expected to follow, pushing the market conversation forward. Some of the key highlights within this: institutions continue to back new XRP products, with Franklin Templeton filing an S1, CME announcing the launch of XRP futures. We just went over that yesterday. And Brazil's, not going to pronounce that, approved a dedicated XRP ETF. The SEC obviously officially withdrawing its appeal, closing the chapter on a multi-year legal saga that tested the limits of regulatory overreach in the war on crypto. Gigantic news: Ripple acquired Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, which is one of the largest merger and acquisition deals in crypto history, driving more institutional grade use cases to RLUSD, the stablecoin, and the XRP ledger. Really crazy stuff here that they're kind of ramping this down at this point. I mean, this has been very, very long-standing transparency reports, 2017, as long as I can remember. It'll be interesting. I mean, I feel like there's enough. I feel like there's a lot of tools out there right now that are publicly accessible and available that do kind of shine a light on what's going on in the XRP ledger. However, always nice to get kind of the insight and take from Ripple themselves here. And yeah, I'm guessing that this will be something that probably the community maybe picks up on and starts, that's what I would be doing, is trying to put out some of these reports with on-chain analytics and some of the data as well. But as of March 31st, 2025, total XRP held by Ripple, you're looking at 4,562,433,147 total XRP subject to on-ledger escrow, about 37 billion. So that chapter closes and a new chapter opens, and that chapter looks like Ripple might be making some moves behind the scenes, and we might have to do a little bit of sleuthing and digging to try to find some of them. But transparency on the XRP ledger. I mean, the XRP ledger is an open and transparent network. You can see what's going on anyways. So anyways, breaking stuff coming out yesterday. This is the European Central Bank. Man, it's crazy to see some of this stuff, because now we have, I think it's 70 European Central Bank partnering with private sector through digital euro innovation platform. What's interesting in here is, I think a lot of people may hear the terms central bank digital currency or CBDC, maybe not really understanding what's going on as far as all the technical integrations and the parties that may be playing a role in some of this stuff. I did mention in the video yesterday, I wanted to give a shout out to Quant, and Quant is going to get a shout out here today in a second. Not going to do a super big deep dive, but I'm going to go over some of these partners that were selected into this digital euro innovation platform, and you'll find some interesting ties as well here. So ECB establishes an innovation platform with around 70 market participants. Participants are to test digital euro payment functionalities and explore innovative use cases, and findings of which are going to be shared in a report later this year. I will go over this 70 markets participant PDF here in a second, but first I wanted to give a huge shout out to the Quant community and Quant network. Certainly probably one of the more slept on utility driven ecosystems in this space. Have been working out, interoperability aspects through their Overledger platform for years at this point in time. But we're going to run through just a brief overview of this article here. Quant selected as a pioneer partner in the European Central Bank's digital euro project. On Monday, May 5th, you can see these 70. Quant's going to be playing a key role in helping the ECB to develop a secure, trusted, and private digital euro with the programmability and efficiency of modern digital payments. This goes back to 2023 with the European Central Bank laying the foundations for the issuance of a digital euro. You'll see here in a second. This goes back way before 2023. There's some crazy Central Bank of France talking about XRPL. There's one of the integration partners in here. I think it's Equins Worldline. You'll see some of the documents that I found about them way back in 2019. But we're honored to have been selected. And as leaders in distributed ledger technology, programmability, and interoperability, we have the technical expertise, strategic, you get it. He goes over regulated liability network in here, all of which were utilized in successful delivery of projects, including the United Kingdom's regulated liability network and the Bank for International Settlements and Bank of England's Project Rosalind retail central bank digital currency. So this is some of the stuff that Quant is involved in. Again, sometimes slept on, but certainly not to be forgotten. And I know that Quant is one of those ecosystems too that like they're not doing like let's just go by what's going on in the blockchain industry as far as like what networks have to do for marketing. They kind of like just have not marketed it at all, and they're just like, we're not going to get involved in that stuff. We're not really going to deal with the smoke and mirrors of how this industry kind of operates in some of those regards with like marketing initiatives and things like that. We're just going to build and try to actually solve some pain points and get integrated. And you can see the fruits of that labor here. Quant selected as a pioneer partner. There's 70. This is the legit document. It looks like just a Word document that somebody wrote on, but this is the document here. You can run the gamut of some of the innovation partners. Now, there's P and there's B, and I believe P stands for pioneer, V stands for visionary, B stands for both. Accenture should ring a bell to many people. Pioneer. They've got, now I'm going to go through what some of these potentially represent here in a second as well, but there are some tie-ins to distributed ledger, and I'll find them here in just a second for you guys. But Equins Worldline is what I wanted to go over first. So Equins Worldline, I found an older document. Let me see if I can pull it up here. This is all the way back in 2019, clearing and settlement mechanism selected by the Dutch Payments Association. This is a 2017 slide from Equins Worldline. And in this, they say they want to eliminate central entities and create new ones. And then again, in quotations, instead, money is granted, take this with a grain of salt, but this just goes to show you how long this stuff has been worked on. We know that there's like a gigantic rise in stablecoin initiatives right now. So I don't want to make sure that there's like a direct inference into like, oh, XRP is going to be used for everything, but I still think it's interesting enough to present. Equins Worldline, one of the partners within Digital Euro or the European Central Bank's Digital Euro Innovation Platform. And you can see what some of this stuff says, though. Clearing and settlement mechanism, blah, 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 kind of boring. But here's a document. I get that there's a typo. This is a legit document, though, from like years ago. Banks embrace Ripple and move beyond testing to real-world transactions. The goal was to slash the time and cost of cross-border settlement. Method was to ditch the traditional sluggish model of using local currency amounts with correspondent banking. And then back in 2019, all the way back in August, they were already talking about converting all of these different fiat currencies directly into XRP. That's coming from them. And then forcing banks to maintain access to various instant payment networks, DLT disrupting alternatives. There's a couple of slides on there. So found that interesting. The other thing that I want to bring up about the digital euro that I think is of note, and this document is all the way back from, okay, so this is 2021 when I found this. I want to say this is like a KPMG document. You can probably still find this if you do like targeted searches. But this was in this. I mean, this was a legit document. You can see the crappy circle that I had around it and all the arrows. But this is a note. France's central bank, Bank de France, has openly discussed Ripple/XRP as a possible platform for Europe's central digital currency. So all the way back in 2021, you have the Central Bank of France talking about the digital euro potentially running on XRP. I'm assuming they mean XRP Ledger, maybe XRP and Ripple, but that's the exact verbiage that was in that document there. So found that pretty interesting. I did want to say there's some other kind of integrations that might be of note within this stuff. Let me try to pull this up momentarily for you guys here. All right, so we have Quant, which we already went over. You also have Cody and T-Chain, pioneers in CBDC privacy layers. So Cody is a DAG-based blockchain and also builds confidentiality tools on Ethereum. Also within that ECB Pioneer platform, and these are just some of the things that may have relationships into it. Fluency. Fluency is known for multi-CBDC infrastructure. They've been selected by MasterCard, apparently, likely working with Ethereum or Hyperledger. Chain for travel. They operate Camino Network, which is a travel-focused layer one. Funds on Chain, specializing in tokenizing real-world financial instruments. Kima Network. And then you get into the rabbit hole with some of like the more enterprise systems integrator kind of participants within the digital euro platform out of those 70. SAP. So SAP and KPMG and Swisscom. There's some overlay into like Hedera and Hashgraph. There's overlay into Hyperledger, R3 Corda, Tezos, certainly Ethereum and EVM. Crunchfish, which was in there, notably has previously partnered with Ripple for offline central bank digital currency cash solutions. Emergent, likely working on decentralized digital identity and could plug into distributed ledger technology as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys can probably do even more digging than I'm going to do in here, but I did want to kind of go through some of the names that were tied into this. KPMG is obviously huge. Trying to nail down an interview with KPMG, hopefully over the next month or so, if possible. SAP is huge. Accenture, which was up above. Tata Consultancy Services is like TCS is obviously Hedera and Hashgraph, but ties into a lot of different things. I think I've done some deep dives into the TCS Quartz, QUARTZ platform multiple times in the past. So lots of interesting stuff going on. I did want to say we obviously, and this ties in tons of networks. Obviously in the United States, there's kind of the surge in thought processes around like ETFs getting across the line. Some of these other jurisdictions are just a little bit further ahead. Exchange traded products already live in Europe, throughout Europe. And we had an opportunity to interview Valour Group. So this is certainly not financial advice because they deal like specifically in financial products. But Valour, I think they have 900 million assets under management. I think that they surpassed $1 billion and before this kind of market correction. But this is like tons of networks. So you're talking, they're bridging traditional finance and digital assets. We are not affiliated directly with Valour at all. But XRP, they've got, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, HBAR. So tons of kind of networks involved in this. If you're interested in checking out Valour or watching this interview or reading the article, feel free to do so. And then I want to move a little bit into like, I think one of the narratives that we've seen pretty consistently, or I've seen pretty consistently over a lot of these enterprise interviews in the past, handful of months here. And we've done PricewaterhouseCoopers and Deloitte, and Hashgraph announced HashSphere, which is essentially, this is essentially like an enterprise ready private gateway for institutions. And we did a full interview with Eric Piscini. Eric's the CEO of Hashgraph. Kind of is, he even mentions like HashSphere and some of these like subnets. I'm sure you guys have heard of subnets on some of these networks and private kind of networks. And what they essentially represent is kind of like the gateway into mainnet over time and kind of at the comfort level of these institutions. So it's a pretty fascinating interview if you guys wanted to read through it. This is not like live yet. I think that this is going to be a little bit later this year, but this is the vision behind HashSphere. This is not Hedera mainnet, but there are, it's just a fascinating interview here with Eric, and you get to kind of get a glimpse behind the curtain of what some of these privacy-enabled networks might represent in correlation to mainnet. And really, it comes down to either A, comfort level for institutions, or B, literally from a regulatory standpoint, some institutions like cannot onboard onto a public mainnet because we're not there yet from a regulatory compliance or regulatory clarity standpoint. So I'll play a short clip from Eric here.
Sometimes we call HashSphere the gateway drug to mainnet, right? Because that's the idea, right? The idea is you come, you consume, you like it because it's great tech, and then at some point you say, I need the bigger ecosystem, I need to go on mainnet, and then you actually end up on mainnet.
So I also want to give a shout out to Constellation ecosystem, Upsider AI. Looks like it's going to their metagraphs going on mainnet. This is the DAG Explorer here, so I'm assuming we'll see Upsider here as a metagraph. Where you can see right now the metagraphs that are currently live. And for you guys that aren't aware of Constellation's ecosystem, again, take it with a grain of salt. Genfinity has a media relationship with Constellation, so certainly not financial advice, but to give you guys an overview. Essentially, you have the hypergraph, which is like this layer 0, right? Snapshots, validates kind of all data that sits on top of it. Then you essentially have like these layer 1s on top of it, or metagraphs or subnets, whatever term, floats your boat. Federal, Door, which is deepin, Alpaca, which is social, Common Crawl, which is AI. Common Crawl essentially has 9.7 petabytes of data. Common Crawl scrubs the entire internet, creates an archive of it. I think it's like 98% of large language models and AI globally in some way, shape, or form touch Common Crawl data. So sidebar, but that's kind of your AI data provenance network. And then Panasonic North America's Toughbook Connect metagraph, and it looks like we'll be getting an Upsider AI metagraph here, which is pretty cool. So kudos to the Constellation ecosystem. And then I want to announce we're going to be doing a podcast. So I thought this was a pretty cool announcement coming out of the Algorand ecosystem. So they just did their audio spaces today with World Chess. I think we're going to be doing a podcast with World Chess on Thursday. This is pretty cool, though. I mean, if you see an announcement like this kind of at face value, I think we see a lot of announcements in blockchain. You have to kind of zoom out. So we kind of frame this around exactly what it is, which is really just on-chain credentials for gaming ecosystems, for competitions, for potentially sports. So they kind of had this really comprehensive white paper for on-chain credentials passport for 600 million players. So kind of an identity that makes sure that you're you when you're playing these games. Certainly chess. There's a lot of kind of, if anybody plays chess and you have like an app, I have, I don't know if I have chess.com on mine or not, but sometimes like I'll get like a message saying the person you were playing against was cheating, and like it will like give you, scores and all that stuff. So this is World Chess and Algorand Foundation proposing a blockchain-based passport designed to unify player identities, improve integrity, and streamline the global chess system. So you can think about this kind of across different sports and gaming ecosystems and what this potentially represents as well. And chess, obviously, globally is massive. I mean, it is it's not a hobby. It's literally like an obsession for a lot of people. And I'm excited to do an interview there. So yeah, gigantic news. I mean, I was not expecting to see the XRP Markets Report ramp down and sunset. I believe this will be the last one. Maybe we get one more for Q2, but it doesn't look like it starting in sunset its report in current form starting in Q2. So this probably is the last one. And then European Central Bank partnering with private sector, 70 different entities for their digital euro innovation platform. And shout out to Quant and the Quant community and the Quant team and Gilbert, who I know that they've just been working on this stuff under the hood and not playing the, let's chill on social media game and still getting adopted. Wow, imagine that. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Thanks. Bye.